I mean, it's definitely reminiscent, but it's songs that we haven't played all these songs, throughout these years, but most of them we have kind of shuffled around the set. This is the first time in sequence we've done it, and it feels, when you listen to a record that's been around for a long time, you get used to that feel of a song going into the next. So that happening live is something that's cool and brand new. As far as like what we're singing about, yeah, we've grown up a lot. We've had, life changes and kids and marriage and divorce and all that over the years, which is something that when we wrote that album we didn't have. So, that being said, when we're out here on the road, we're really the same guys we were then. I don't feel like, we could probably write My Own Worst Enemy tomorrow, all over again, because we still drink and we still get silly. And
the stories still hold true to what we do out here on the road or at home, anywhere.
It's definitely evolved. It's different, and what I think what we were trying to say in that song was just how you're looked at as kind of, when you're a kid with tattoos and in a rock and roll band, you're kind of looked at as a little bit of an outcast, and a lot of people asked us back then, well, what's your backup plan? What if your band doesn't make it? And kind of looked at our world as like something that was just fantasy, and like it's not a real thing. You can't really make a living playing music. And I think it was just sort of like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about kind of a thing, and it's another world, but it's something more than ordinary, and you're kind of missing out on broadening your horizons, I guess. I don't know.
Well, just I think accepting what we have and who we are, and having the things we have, family, the friends, the opportunity to tour the world and meet new people, and see new places. I think that's
to be able to still wake up in a tour bus and know that you got a gig that night, and still have the same guys to wake up to and play music together, and that's a lovely day, and it's in its own right. And like he's saying, we still, when we're home, it's a whole different kind of drill. Like I take my little girl to school and come back and have about 7 cups of coffee and call this guy on the phone and discuss
politics
changes, and in our days. And there's all kind. We got so much stuff when we're at home. We're involved in so many different things that it's cool to be out on the road and just hone in on what brought us together, and just our day revolves around music. So. We've kind of, this business is definitely a roller coaster ride, and I feel like it's already exceeded our expectations as far as what the top would be, or we constantly set new goals, but I think at the end of the day, the world's changing like crazy. It's a completely different place than it was when 99 are, as far as like the state of the record companies and people going to record stores and buying CDs, that's next to gone. But yeah, I think just to be able to continue to make a living playing music is, I think when we say the view from the bottom, it was more of it was a toast. If you look at the record cover, we're holding our glasses up, and it's the view from the bottom, like looking up. It was supposed to be a positive
celebration, celebration of life and music, and
at the same time, just the state of America at the moment, and especially around that time, pretty shambles. If as far as the economy and the climate, the morale, a lot of we felt, we wrote that song "The Broken," and we kind of felt like that sort of summed up how a lot of people were feeling in America. Just that you just got to stick together and stay positive and forge forward. I always say that a lot of that, it was a whirlwind. We were a band for 10 years before we had any success at all, and then it was an overnight success. It felt like. We got thrown into this mix of traveling the world and press and MTV and hanging around with like our favorite musicians, and it was going so fast that I would tell myself to slow down and absorb every second of it.
Yeah.
Because, you know, looking back, it's like, wow, we did that. Oh, we did that. And so I see pictures, I'm like, shit, I wish I would have stopped and like really, you know, soaked it in. So yeah, that's something that's advice I'd give to anybody that's their career is starting to blow up is, you know, enjoy every single second of it, because it's a blessing, man.
On this particular tour, we're taking in a lot more sights and stopping places and taking in a bit more of the history of some of the places, you know? Like the oldest bar, for instance, in Manchester, visiting that. It's very important.
That's important.
Funny you should ask. We did a tour with Offspring and Joe Strummer throughout Europe, and our last show was in Italy, and we were tired and miserable, and it was raining out, and A.J. and I were in this tent, and there was barely any catering left around lunchtime or whatever, so I remember A.J. and I just putting scraps like tomatoes on our plate and everything. We sat down at the table, and Joe Strummer walked over and asked if he could sit with us. And up to that point, I mean, we'd watch his show and say hi in passing, but we didn't really talk to him too much. Well, he sat down with A.J. and I and talked for a while, and I wish I'd have gotten a photo with him.
We talked for about 20 minutes about tomatoes with Joe Strummer, which is just like, I mean, that's a moment that not a lot of people get. So,
he was a sweetheart, man. He was a good dude.
I actually think it might be a little easier in the early days. I mean, Kevin could probably answer this question because he's right now experiencing his little boy's just now at the age where he's starting to miss daddy and stuff. So.
Yeah, it's different. 15 years ago, we didn't have FaceTime. These guys didn't get to enjoy that, and I get to enjoy it. But just the other night, my kid he's 2.5 and started crying. I don't think he understood why Dad was on a telephone. You know, hey buddy, you know. So it's definitely hard. It's hard to leave your loved ones, but you know, there's pros and cons to all of this, and you know, some people have to go to a job every day. We don't necessarily have to do that, but when we do go to work, it's, you know, 2 weeks, a month, sometimes 6 weeks, whatever. You know, it is what it is, and we can't really sit here and cry about it, but it is hard, you know, and my 2.5-year-old obviously doesn't understand why Dad isn't there, but so.
I kind of feel like rock music right now is suffering quite a bit as far as mainstream goes, and that's something that has always kind of gone in waves. But I feel like rock fans are having to dig a little deeper, and if you want to hear new lit stuff, you might have to go to YouTube or dig up, try and find a download or whatever. But that's how you're gonna be turned on to our new music and know whether you like it or not. Kind of have to do the footwork, you know, because radio's not always eager to. At least right now, I feel like it's just a lot of pop music, and a lot of, you know, rock isn't what it used to be. That being said, we're a constantly evolving band. Our music's always changing. So when My Worst Enemy hit the radio, the bands that were doing well were bands like Limp Bizkit and Fatboy Slim and all this, you know, music that really wasn't anything like what we do, and it just sort of like found its way through. So you never really know. I mean, it's a little bit of a climate thing, but it's also, there's no guarantees in music. You know, a hit song there's no formula. It's just, if people dig it, then it gets heard. And I mean, I have some of my favorite bands that don't have huge hit songs, you know, but I pop in their CDs all the time, and I'll pull up on my computer and listen to their music. So that's all we can ask for.